Hey, remember Saturday morning cartoons? When I come back, we're going to get nostalgic. Hello, and welcome to How Do You Like Your Coffee? I'm your host, Chris, and today I'm going to get quite nostalgic. About 2 weeks ago, I'm watching the Ear Biscuits, a replay of the Ear Biscuits. I don't get to really catch it on the podcast live, so I wait until it's on YouTube. And Rhett and Link were talking about how did we survive without cell phones. And as they talked, the more nostalgic I became because it got me thinking about so much. I mean, the first thing that came to mind was payphones. Okay, parents scrambled to make sure they had change for the cell phones. Or payphones, I do that every time. I'm not cutting it this time. It's going to stay right in there. They had to make sure there was change for the payphones. If you needed to call home, it was either you used your friend's phone, you used the school's phone, or you used the change your parents gave you for a payphone. Or you called collect and said, "Hello, it's me. Call me right back at the number you see on the phone." And that's after we were able to get caller ID. And then they were able to call it back. But or you would just shout into the phone number. The phone number, rip the phone number off real quick so that they could call you right back. Yeah, we used to do things like that. That's called cheating, but it worked. Anyway, yeah, it got me thinking nostalgic and how far we've come technologically. Well, anyway, I got to thinking about technology, and the first thing that comes to mind is TV. I remember when I was young, very, very young. I don't even think I was in school yet. It was mid-70s. We had TV that took transistor bulbs. They were vacuum bulbs. Actually, was what the proper name for them are. They looked like a space-aged light bulb with little electrodes in them. And in order to run your TV set, if one went, you had to replace it. And I remember the drugstores used to have this big panel laid out, and you'd plug it into the right socket. If it lit up, or if the light lit up, it was a good bulb. If it didn't, or whatever, it was a bad bulb, and you got to buy yourself a new one. Don't know how much they were. Didn't find much information on them except for how they worked and replacing them, and what people went through replacing them. And there was a lot of replacing bulbs. Then we got into transistors, but the TVs didn't change in weight any. They were still big gold boxes that took up a huge part of space. I don't think we saw any kind of flat screens until late 90s, early 2000s. Before we saw any really nice flat screen TVs. Now I don't think you're going to see a TV that isn't flat. And it was a great thing for me to be able to take a TV and pick it up with one arm and walk through the house with it. We're talking now, us little weaklings can pick up a 55-incher and say, "Hey, I picked up a 55-inch TV." Couldn't do that with the big boxes. I don't even think they had them 55 inches. I haven't seen them that big. Anyways, 32 inches was huge to us back then. And the round screen, the screen came out, it was heavy glass. That's the thing. The TVs back then, they got bumped or something. They did not break. Today, when your LCD screens gets bumped just right, and there goes your screen. So I guess things were made a little bit more sturdy then than they are today. But, you got to take it like it is. Your technology, you also want it lightweight, and you want it to be easier. You have to go with it. You have to, sacrifice somewhere. So sturdy, we sacrificed in the area of being sturdy. Another thing is Saturday morning cartoon. Today, you are able to. You want to watch a cartoon, you just click on the TV, you turn it to this channel that's made for cartoons, or you go to a streaming site, you can watch your cartoons on that. Back in the day, we had to wait till Saturday morning or after school. And after school, it ran maybe an hour or so because the conscience of the people running it said, okay, these kids have to do their homework. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it like an hour, maybe 2 hours of cartoons on. Then it's homework time and supper time and bath time and then bedtime. So there was a routine it was more routine back in the day than it is today. Back in the 70s, we had like 13 channels, and that was with cable television. Even the hookups were totally different. And we didn't have remote control. You had to stand up, walk to the TV, and turn the dial. It was not anything spectacular, like push the buttons or anything. It was I kind of miss doing that back and forth thing. That was fun. Another thing that has changed so much is how we were able to watch movies at home when we wanted to. I remember when I was younger, we had a Super 8 projector, and that was cool to me. That was just something, that was special. You could actually pop a reel on there and watch your cartoons or watch a movie. And then we moved on as the 80s came along, mid 80s and above. We got beta and VHS tapes. And then as we got into the middle and later part of the 90s, we got DVDs. So things were progressing so quickly. And then there was one thing I remember about the Super 8s, though. Even though they were cool, in order to get sound, there was a separate cassette tape that you had to sync with it. Any of you that are older will know what I'm talking about. Even the schools, and I remember teachers not getting the sound right, and it drove me crazy because their mouths would move and then the sound would come, or the sound would come and then their mouths would move. Research. When we had projects at school, it wasn't as easy as going to your computer, look it up, type a search word in. We had to go to a library, and I hardly believe that there is a need to learn the Dewey Decimal System anymore, because all you have to do now is walk to your computer and type in a keyword search, and anything you want to know comes up. Back in the day, it was go to the library, look up the subject, and hope that it was in the book that you got. By the time you were done, you had like 12, 13 books that you had to choose from. You had to look through those books to get the information that you needed. And we didn't have software to, I think any of you go to college, you will know that when you do a paper, you have to cite your sources. We didn't have software that you just filled in the blanks and it would do it for us. We had to write this all out by hand. Another thing that has changed a lot are toys. If you get a child's toy today that just sits there, let's say you got him an action figure. You hand him an action figure and it doesn't do anything. They're going to tell you it doesn't do anything. There's no special moves. It doesn't talk. It doesn't light up. It doesn't do anything. Back in the day, our dolls didn't cry and things like that. I mean, you used your imagination. Nowadays, it's you hand a child a toy, it better do something. That car better be able to drive. The doll better speak or go to the bathroom or eat or something. Or the action figure better have some chop action or something to it. I'm wondering, like I said, I wonder how new millennials are going to look back on now, like 10, 20, 30 years from now. Now, that reminds me of a joke that my mother told me, and I don't want to get it wrong, but I'm going to do my best. And I'm going to do my best. Just say that. There's these three women sitting at a pool. And the first woman, she puts her hand up to her ear and she says, and the one woman says, "What are you doing?" She goes, "My cell phone, got my cell phone right in my hand. I don't, right here, waterproof and all, instilled right in her hand." And she's talking, talking away to her friend. So the second woman sitting there, she looks at her arm, starts typing on her arm, and she goes, "What are you doing?" And she goes, "Oh, checking my email." She starts typing. Well, the third woman, she's getting a little disgusted and kind of irritated with these two technologically advanced women. And she says, "Oh, I got to go to the restroom." So she gets up, she goes to the restroom. She's walking back. And behind her is a stream of toilet paper coming out of her bathing suit. And the woman with their cell phone says, "Hey, something," she's motioning to her to let her know. And she goes, "Well, what do you know? I got a fax." So what I'm wondering is, are we going to be able to surgically implant our phones? Are we going to have our computers right on our wrists? I mean, we're close to it. We're close to it. We're able to wear smartwatches. And smartwatches we can talk through. We are able to put on a pair of gloves that Bluetooth, and we can control through these gloves, especially during super cold months. So just don't integrate the fax machine. Don't want to do that. Just something I can't imagine going through. But, and holographically, which brings me back to some of the things that we're able to do today that we couldn't do before. I used to watch the Jetsons. I was hooked on the Jetsons. And video chat. Video chat today is going to be holographic chat in a few years. It's going to be able to be done. Somebody's going to be able to come up with a plan to holographically bring a loved one into their home from across the globe and talk to them face to face. I see that coming. Now, don't say, "Oh," because let me tell you something. When I was in school, we had to come up with future plans. What's it going to be like? Now, we weren't thinking what's it going to be like in 2019. We were thinking 1999. We were a little off on the years. But we were thinking things like, well, we're going to be able to do our homework on the computer. Sure enough, you can do your homework on a computer. We also said something like, we're going to be able to walk out of our house with a phone. We're going to be able to drive our car and have our phone with us. Sure enough, you can do that now. So who knows? Holographically, we might be talking to our loved ones right where we stand, over the phone or whatever. I can't imagine, maybe we'll even have holographic games. Where you'll holographically have your games right in front of you. There won't be need for a television set. You'll have this special platform on the floor and be able to holographically play your games right into the game. It won't be virtual reality. It will be right in front of you. Can't say how this could happen or whatever, but hey, we had dreams back then. They came true, and this one, work on it. I know they're working on it right now, right, guys? Yeah. Okay. So anyways, if you liked this video, let me know in the comments below. If you have any nostalgic stories to share, comment them down below as well. And if you like this type of content, let me know and click on the subscribe button and the bell icon if you would like to be notified of my next upload. And until next time, keep that coffee hot and those pinkies up. I will be seeing you.